Welcome to Night Shift. My name is Jeff Sharon. We got Eric Lopez. We got Bryson Turner here with us, and on the sort of the busy week right before Memorial Day, right, guys? This is when all the big stuff starts coming down before we really start winding down for the summer, and we still have lots to talk about. Baseball in the American Tournament out in Clearwater. They have advanced to the winner's bracket, so we'll talk about that. That big game. The war on I-4 is not dead yet, gentlemen. We'll talk softball, who went 1-2 in the Tallahassee Regional. Their season comes to an end. 3 straight 40-win seasons. Eric Lopez will give us thoughts on that. We've got tennis. We've got track. We'll talk some men's basketball transfers. We've got a new volleyball assistant coach to talk about.
New volleyball coach.
new volleyball assistant coach, and we've got and we mentioned some gold happening with the football uniforms, mainly with the helmets. So we'll try and riff on that for a little bit. But all right, here we go. Let's start with UCF Baseball. So the Knights finished up the regular season against Wichita State and then went right into Clearwater for the American Athletic Conference Championship, and they went in as the 5 seed. As the 4 seed playing Cincinnati in the first game. They beat Cincinnati 4-3 on a walk-off home run by Andrew Brate, which is only his 3rd career homer. And so the latest situation for UCF baseball looks like this. So they move forward in the winner's bracket. South Florida beat the 8 seed. South Florida beat the 1 seed ECU. Sent the Pirates to the loser's bracket. So in the winner's bracket, this is the big thing. This is why I kind of like the format of the American Baseball Tournament. The winners on day one, because they play 4 games on day one, the winners get a day off. So that's kind of your reward for winning. UCF plays South Florida in Clearwater Thursday, May 25th, 1 p.m., at least scheduled for now. And in a winner's bracket day where Bryson, you were there along with Nick, we saw 3 lower seeds win. UCF was the only higher seed to win. And now, and to just update you on the loser's bracket game, someone's going home today that probably wasn't planning on it, or today or tomorrow. Right now, at the moment we're recording this, which is about 9:30 Eastern on Wednesday, May 24th, Cincinnati, the 5 seed, is leading 1 seed ECU 6-5 in the top of the 6th in Clearwater. They've had numerous weather delays, and right now there is a power outage at Baycare Ballpark. So we don't know if they're going to finish this game tonight. They may end up finishing it tomorrow. They've already moved the Wichita State-Houston game to 9 a.m.
We'll never have to worry about this ever again if you're UCF, because in the Big 12 they play indoors.
They play indoors. They play at Globe Life Field, which is
Major League Park, baby. Yeah.
So at least we won't have to worry about what. Well, let me put it this way: never say never. But if you have to worry about a weather delay, something has gone terribly wrong, as opposed to rain in Clearwater. Surprise, surprise. So
water is wet.
You're right. So Bryson, Cam Leiter against Cincinnati threw threw extraordinarily well. The bullpen again just really is struggling for UCF. They gave up the 3-0 lead, but then Andrew Brate comes through in the bottom of the 9th with just his 3rd homer of his career, but his 2nd within a week because he hit one against Wichita State. So if you're Greg Lovelady, how are you thinking right now heading into South Florida, hopefully on Thursday?
Well, I'm sure that he's very grateful for the extra rest for his relief pitchers. Najir Victor and Kyle Kramer overall, I think, are very good relief pitchers. I actually asked about Greg Lovelady in the press conference, which you can find on the Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel about it. And, he said that they just have to kind of pick them back up again. I mean, they have been consistent throughout, usually pretty good throughout the whole season, both Victor and Kramer. And so I think to have this day off is a really good sign, because when you go to the bullpen, those are the guys you're probably going to want to go to, at least as far as the late in the game is concerned. But hats off to Leiter for not letting them go to the bullpen like beyond, that setup closer type of role. I mean, he's really been turning it up the past few weeks. 11 strikeouts at Tulane, 11 strikeouts at Cincy 10 days before he played Cincinnati again in here, and he got 9 strikeouts against them. That's 20 strikeouts against one team this season. I actually ran some numbers before the tournament started, so this may have changed a little bit. But as of right before the tournament started, Cam Leiter is currently sitting at the second best strikeouts per 9 in a single season in program history. So while
that's pretty good, I think that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, very much so. Leiter, he wasn't named unanimously to the all-freshman team for nothing. Yes, the coaches really recognize something within Leiter as far as stuff goes, and he's had his struggles as a freshman. Hunter Pattison, I remember, went through this when he was here as a freshman a couple years ago, and he turned into a key centerpiece for the starting rotation for them in that AAC tournament. So I'm thinking we're probably seeing something again this time, and I would definitely be a happy camper if I'm Greg Lovelady that you could maybe have Leiter going forward if you can pull out the win tomorrow as well, because if you have someone like Leiter going on a tear that he's going on right now, then that's a very good thing to have for a pitching staff that has been very wishy-washy throughout this entire season. And go with American tournament being what it is, ECU we could be seeing the number 1 seed out. They're on the ropes as of right now. ECU is on the ropes with their number 1 starter. They couldn't pitch him today because he ended up getting suspended one game because I guess he was some kind of hot dog handout or something. It was a really weird circumstance, but if ECU does end up exiting this tournament early, then what was already kind of like, all right, we could probably this is a pretty wide open tournament to anyone can win it now. I mean, you just mentioned it earlier. Three lower seeds won, and the only higher seed that won was only ahead by 1 seed, and that was UCF, and it was on a walk.
The seeds don't matter in this tournament. I mean, this is the story of the American this year in baseball. It's wide open. I mean, we knew this.
Yeah.
East Carolina's the only team that's probably safe. Even if they go 0-2, they had an RPI of 27 going into this game. They're probably going to get in to the tournament regardless of what they do here. So if you actually,
the one thing they are blowing is any chance to host, though.
Yeah, I think that was slim anyway. So I think there'll be a 2 or 3 somewhere, which is good news though for the Americans. If you're the American, that means somebody else wins the automatic bid, which means you become a multi-bid league. This is the 9th rated conference this year. It's the lowest that the American has ever had in the 10 years. This is the lowest they've ever been as a conference RPI for whatever reason. So, but what it is, it's wide open. It is wide open. Like day 1 didn't shock me one bit because the difference between 2 and 8 or whatever is low. You mentioned the suspension. Yes, that was on a home run where the guy was giving him a hot dog prop. You're not supposed to have props in baseball in a celebration of a home run. So that actually did happen during the South Florida
Fun League.
Well,
Come on. Ridiculous.
Kind of weird. So,
meanwhile, they're sitting in that dugout waiting for the lights to come back on.
I mean, that's
Jeez Louise.
It's not just the American, it's a college baseball thing. But so now you got UCF South Florida. And, in a lot of ways, it's very fitting that these two teams will play in the winner's bracket game. Bryson, considering everything that has happened this year with all the drama that kind of started with that series up in Orlando, and then they went back to Tampa. They're evenly matched. And I think the question is, this is going to come down to what do the Knights get from Rudy Gomez, who I would assume will get the ball on Thursday. I could be wrong. But I think Rudy Gomez has to deliver for this team. I don't think you want to go deep into your bullpen early, not the way they've been kind of up and down. And then offensively, you got to get those timely hits. This is going to be a big opportunity. You win this game on Thursday, now all of a sudden you don't play till Saturday. You only have to win once and have to be beaten twice. You lose this game Thursday, now you got to come back, play Friday, then you got to come back, play Saturday. It's a long ways away. So this is a monster game for both UCF and USF, who have both probably have had, by their standards, disappointing seasons to this point, but have a chance to avenge that in this tournament.
Season records, by the way. Of course, these two teams played twice. tied up at 3. South Florida won 2 out of 3 in Orlando, but UCF won 2 out of 3 in Tampa. So slight geographic advantage to the Knights, Bryson.
Well, this is gonna be down to who's gonna get the last laugh, because the whole season record, it's tied 3-3. So whoever wins this game right here is going to get the last laugh, because it'll be 4-3 in their favor. And Eric mentioned,
well, in theory, they could play again.
What, in the postseason? No.
Yes. They could play again.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah,
I
see.
Because
remember, double elimination, they could play.
Elimination.
Let's say, whichever team loses the winners bracket game, if they beat the winner of Cincinnati ECU, then they would play each other again.
That is very true. But that is very true. But I think that both of these teams are going to be going in with a mentality that this could be the last time they face each other. And after the drama that has unfolded between these two teams over the course of this season, this is going to be another very, I think, passionate type of game. You mentioned Rudy Gomez.
That's a very kind way of putting it.
You mentioned Rudy Gomez.
Emotions are going to run high here. There's no doubt.
Rudy, in the previous 2 series against USF in Johnny Liano Park, while the team lost that game, he had 7 strikeouts and only gave up 2 runs on 4 hits. While in Tampa, he struck out 4 batters and gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. So Rudy has done, I would say, some solid outings against USF in the past. We know he's kind of been in a bit of a cold streak as of late, but he had the opportunity to rest the Wichita series, which Lovelady talked about, had the boons of having that. And so going into tomorrow, going in with this rest, I think that with this day off, I think Najir Victor and Kyle Kramer, since they both went 1 inning, they could be good to go if they need them to do it again. So I think really the biggest thing is
if not multiple innings, Bryson. If not multiple innings, I mean you've got to treat this like a Game 7 type, because it really puts you in a great spot. If whoever wins this game puts you in a great spot to be within 1 win of playing for that championship on Sunday. So and then for that reason, I think you're going to see maybe some. It'll be interesting how the coaches handle this, quick hooks versus keeping a guy in longer. Baseball. Look. The offense found a way, right? Brake found a way with a home run, but Bryson, they've got to deliver with runners on base. They kind of left some runners on base in that Cincinnati game. They had a chance to break that game open and did not. And that's my concern is in this park. I don't know, can they, put up offensive numbers without hitting a long ball? That's going to be the question here as well, especially as we prolong this tournament and the pitching gets eroded. It's going to turn into a slugfest.
Yeah. Well, we find out first bit of business tomorrow. Scheduled around 1, and we'll see how that goes because of the delays that we're seeing at.
Well, they have resumed in Clearwater. The lights are back on. They have resumed, and that is significant. It's East Carolina, Cincinnati. That does play a part because East Carolina is more than capable of coming out of the losers bracket and being a dangerous team. Not that Cincinnati's not, but East Carolina is East Carolina. So that is
right.
Adds more ramifications to this UCF South Florida.
But let's not forget that at least as of right now, as we speak at 9:40 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, they're down right now to Cincinnati. They're
you can make the argument that this side of the bracket right now is the favorite to win the automatic bid, with Wichita and Houston both going down early. And now they got to play at 9 a.m. Tulane and Memphis are right now are in the winner's side. I'm not afraid of either of those 2 teams. I think everybody on this side of the bracket can beat those teams. I wouldn't count Wichita State out yet because I do think they're the best offense in the American. They could score in bunches. Their problem is they can't field, but they can outslug people. So I think when you look at this bracket, Wichita, Houston is going to be interesting there as well. This is going to be I had a feeling, I talked to people in the conference when we were in Tampa a couple of weeks ago for softball. We had a feeling this was going to be a wacky conference tournament, and boy, it's off to a wacky start.
Yeah. All right. So we monitor that closely. Now, moving over elsewhere on another dime in UCF softball, Eric Lopez, and this is your time to shine here because, Boy, it was looking good early. UCF got that win over South Carolina on the first day of the tournament. But then, such is college softball, 2 straight losses. They lose to Florida State. They lose to South Carolina in the nightcap. And you go from 1-0 one day to out the next. UCF finishes the season with 40 wins, 3 consecutive wins, 3 consecutive seasons with 40 wins. Another conference championship. Certainly a lot to be proud of on the resume. But Coach Ball Malone, after the loss to South Carolina, kind of felt like she said, like, we left a few on the table here this year. And on one hand, you're pretty encouraged by saying, at another 40-win season where you win the conference and go 15-3 in the league, and you're thinking, wow, the standards are pretty high. But also it's like, maybe there were some missed opportunities. Let's start with you and your evaluation of the tournament. Tallahassee's been a bugaboo for UCF softball over the years and was again this year. Did this go down as you expect, and how do you evaluate how UCF played in these 3 games? Did they get the most out of what they had?
That's the disappointing part about Saturday. There are 2 losses, which defensively they broke down. They had 4 errors in the 2 games. It wasn't like the other teams were hitting them that well, especially the FSU game. They were not hitting. Florida State wasn't hitting Sarah Willis. Really, they scored based on a miscues by UCF defensively. So I think that was disappointing. They didn't hit with runners on base in the FSU game. And I think the FSU game took a lot out of them. It forced them to come back later that night against South Carolina, had much more deeper arms. And UCF just couldn't hit South Carolina pitching in that game. So disappointing in that you didn't get to at least a regional final. I think that's where Coach Ball Malone was coming from. I mean, you mentioned it. Here's the quote that she said in the postgame afterwards. Quote, "We're not satisfied with how we ended. People tell us great season, and our goal every year is to reach potential and have no regrets. I don't think we reached either one of those." That's a strong comment, but I kind of see where she's coming from. This was a team that's top 25. This team lost some games in the walk-offs. Think about this. They blew a 7th-inning lead against Tulsa on the road. They win that. They win a share of the regular season title, win a couple other games. Maybe you're in the mix to host. I kind of think that quote actually describes UCF athletics 22-23, actually. I don't think there's a UCF team on campus this year, maybe except for track, Bryson, that can honestly say they don't have some regret this year and some disappointment.
Soccer?
Men's soccer is definitely a disappointment. Women's. I'll tell you why. Women's soccer. You do better penalty kicks. Maybe you're in the College Cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a column
Football
up, Eric.
In November. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a column, Eric, up on Black and Gold Banner right now, where you do kind of take stock of the season, and your main point is this: like, we got an ace, Sarah Willis. We didn't know if we'd had one. We've got one now. Aubrey Evans is a star. Chloe Evans is a bona fide star.
How she wasn't on the all-region team is highway robbery.
Yeah,
absurd, idiotic. There, yeah.
But, let's face it, heading into the Big 12, 40-win season, conference title, you only lose 1 senior, although you do lose a couple in the transfer portal, including Michaela Macario. But you got to feel at least like the foundation is laid for the Big 12, no?
Yes. I mean, look, listen, this is a good year. It's a really great year. You win a conference championship.
I don't want us to think we're disappointed over 40 wins of the conference title.
But the standard is different now. Softball is kind of the women's sports version of football, where winning 8-9 games isn't good enough. It's like, where do you end up? And I think that's where softball's coming from. This is a program now. Yes, 5 years ago, we would be hooting and hollering and celebrating this year as an incredible year. But it's no longer just good enough to lose in the regionals and say, great year. This team wants to win regionals, especially with the roster that they have. And I think also Coach Ball Malone's message is that's the message. That's kind of what you have to go with the mindset going into the Big 12. And I speak that for everybody, because if you go into the Big 12 hoppy, we're going to be the underdog, then you're going to get smacked in the face. So I think part of the message too is, hey, we got to set this high standards here if we want to be relevant in the Big 12, and they do. They want to be relevant. in the Big 12, and I think they're in place. They have this core coming back next year. And I think they're going to add some pieces. They're going to top 17 recruiting class coming in the fall, and I would expect them to be active in the transfer portal as well to this roster. To me, them and women's soccer are in the best position to compete right away in the Big 12. Now, the negative is there's this school called Oklahoma that's still in the Big 12 next year, so that's going to probably
just for next year, though. Let's be fair.
Yeah, but I think you can finish 4th or 5th in the Big 12 next year and still be in the mix to host. So that's the positive.
Let me ask you this. What's on the shopping list for next year? What do they got? What's the big hole that they got to fill?
Personally, it's just my opinion. I think they still need more pitching. I think you've got Sarah Willis. You got some nice pieces behind her. But I think when you're going into the Big 12, you're going to need 3 depth there. And I think there's some arms. There's going to be arms available in the portal that I think will be interesting. We'll see if UCF lands there. We'll see what else they do. I mean, obviously, you referred to there's some players, I guess, they're in the portal. I'm not surprised by that. This is a huge roster coming back, plus a recruiting class. There's just not a lot of room for everybody. I'm not convinced of the players that are in the portal, except for Macario, that they would have played next year. And I think the Macario, they're deep at the infield. Bryson alluded to this. Aubrey Evans could easily slide into second base. That's the future. Plus, they have a kid named Honda Lewis, who if she sticks around as a bright spot in the infield. They've got another infielder coming in this recruiting class. So I don't think they have to do a lot. I think they got to tweak some things, but I think definitely add more pitching depth and perhaps we'll see what else they decide to do there. You never know, right? Like the thing about the portal is you never know who's available. Nobody expected a Chloe Evans to be available. You're not going to turn that down, even if you feel good about your outfield. So I think Coach Paul Malone has shown she will be aggressive in grabbing great talent and adding, even if they have a strength in that position. That's why she, to me, is right now among the best evaluators in the coaching industry right now at UCF, because she can evaluate talent. She's 4 for 4 the last 2 years on the portal, and 5 for 5 if you can count Janisha Rose. So that's, I think, what they're going to do. They're going to tweak some rosters, add some depth, because that's what you're going to need in the Big 12.
Last season was almost kind of like the Jada Cody, Shannon Doherty show for a lot. And then when Gianna and Kama, of course, were there as well, but they've moved on. You add Chloe, Jasmine, and Sarah to that. That's a 5-person core. Along with Aubrey Evans, that's a 6-person core that you add to that. And I am very interested to see how that would stack up to the Big 12. I've said before that because of how much of this core is probably going to be coming back, that the story of this particular team is only halfway over, because the main players in this story will be together for 2 years. So that's a lot of time to gel and surround themselves with talent. So like you mentioned, Eric, I mean, 4th or 5th place in the Big 12 can still get you into the tournament. So
easily could get you in the mix to host. Baylor was the team that finished 4th in the Big 12, could easily host. That's the thing too. We got to remember, you can finish 4th or 5th in the Big 12 and still make the NCAAs pretty easily and be in the mix to host, unlike the American. So the win-loss record may not be as shiny in the Big 12, but that doesn't mean they won't be better teams. And I think some of the players, I think a Jada Cody, Shannon Doherty will have big years next year, being their final year. I think that'll also help their team next season as well. Look, there was a lot of learning curves this year with the young pitching staff, tough schedule, but even Coach Paul Malone mentioned in the postgame, we got to stop acting like we're the underdog. We're no longer the underdog. It's kind of like the CM kind of to John Cena.
Kind of ironic, though, considering that they're going to be going into a league where they will actually be the underdog.
But I think her mindset is if you act like you're the underdog, then you're going to get beat down like an underdog. And her thing is, we're not the underdog. Let's act like we're the heavy dog.
I like it.
Because we're now Power 5. And I think that's true. You want to get to OKC, that's the mindset.
Yep. All right, moving on. Drew is up in here. Hey, Drew. We got a little bit of a little breaking news yesterday on Tuesday prior to UCF going on the Charge on tour up to New York. It's not gold uniforms, Drew. It's gold. It's a change to the gold helmet. This a brighter gold, kind of reminds me of like a slightly less obnoxious version of the Notre Dame gold for the helmet. UCF released some photos of it. I really like the black script Knights on this thing.
It pops.
Yeah, it does pop. Thoughts by Andrew Gugloff, resident uniform and sports branding expert here on the NightShift podcast. This is thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. What do you got?
Overall, I give it a thumbs up. Like, 'cause think about it. So UCF has 2 shades of gold officially. There's bright gold, which is the new helmet, and then there's the metallic gold, which actually has a bunch of restrictions if you go on their website as far as how to use it. Really, football was the last athletic bastion for metallic gold. It came around in 2007 when they did the rebrand. They highlighted a darker gold, and then one after another, the sports teams kind of went away for it and started focusing more on the bright gold because of the contrast with the black and the white and the different designs that they've got used within it. The black, you look at the different colors that UCF used for their helmet lids since 2016. You had their pewter color, metallic, the gold, metallic. The black was a matte with a bit of metallic to it. Well, they got rid of that in 2022. Pewter's gone. It's a new black color now. It's a more pure black. So it actually kind of fits to revamp the gold. I mean, timing would have made more sense to do it last year, but obviously you do what you can when you can. They dropped this at 100 days until the season starts as a little bit of a teaser, a little something to kind of nosh on. And I think they did a good job. Am I wild about the gold chrome decals? You're not going to see it on TV. You're not.
It's going to be hard to see. The black script pops though.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the best part is that black script just looks fantastic on that brighter gold. But here's the truth. It's that gold decal, great for photos, great for that close-up stuff. It's not going to translate to TV, but you know what? I don't think the fans really care.
When do you think we're gonna see this first? Opening night in 100 days, or
they're kind of hinting at that
or maybe Big 12 opening night.
No, I think they'll hit the ground running. They're kind of teased that's going to be what they're aiming for that kickoff game against Kent State. In 100 days
against the Golden Flashes.
Hey, that's my mom's alma mater. Going back to the MAC. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to deviate from that. As we found out, it was the night mode top to go with a gold that actually matches it now.
Yeah, it does look good with night.
So
mode.
Drew, is this like do you think they'll still rotate helmets? Is this going to be more? We're going to see this helmet more? Yeah. Okay. So it's not as big of a. This is just a different goal when they decide to go with this. This is what.
Yeah. It's part of a rebrand. Missouri did this when they went to the SEC. They embraced the rebrand, going away from the Block M logo to the Tiger. UCF brought in the new Nighthead and have been making other wholesale changes as they got along. A new font, a new design, and just kind of a new attitude. It's the time was right. If you're going to make a splash, this is the year to do it. When you're under the microscope, per se. Talking about all these new teams, the freshman four. Oh, look, my daughter's right behind me.
And she actually has some thoughts on this too, which I appreciate. But all right, so I'm looking forward to that. I like the slow, sure rollout here too. So.
Drew, I think you would agree. If they start losing in these helmets, you could get rid of them, right? Like I'll give you credit. You were on top of this with
these helmets are expensive, man. Let's not go down that road just yet.
The key is don't ever bring back that name, Big Game Gold, again, because that is a big game loser. That's what that is.
Can we also put to bed the idea of gold uniforms?
Oh, please. They just need to be set on fire.
Well, they don't exist.
Exactly.
So
anyone who thinks that in the UCF brand design department needs to be canned immediately for actions detrimental
I'm
to
fairly
the
certain there's a standing policy that we are not going to do that. But anyway, All right, so cool little branding stuff to talk about there as well. All right, we got a couple other things that I wanted to pop in and talk about. Let's talk about some basketball. And Bryce, I want to get you in here, and Eric as well. We have some movements in the portal. Johnny Dawkins hitting the portal once again, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So 4 key additions for UCF. We're going to go over them real quick. Shamari Allen played at UMKC, Kansas City, Missouri, last year. He's originally from Arden, North Carolina. Last year averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2.7 assists as a guard. So he should be. So he'll be joining. He's joining the fray. Just recently came out today. Jalen Sellers from Ball State. He announced on his Instagram he hasn't officially signed. But 6'4", 180 out of Columbus, Georgia originally. He's a sophomore. Last year, 13.5 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, shot 49%. Jaquan Walton is making the move from that dropped today officially. The junior originally from Wichita State. He's a 6'7" guard. Officially listed, also from Columbus, Georgia, 13.9 points, 5.3 rebounds. So we're getting a lot of scoring out here. And then Omar Payne, who's kind of bounced around, was most recently at Jacksonville, 6'10" forward, a local kid, originally from Kissimmee. Last year averaged just under 5 points, 1 block, 3.2 rebounds, but provides some much-needed size. This guy actually played at Florida previously, and then was in Illinois, and then finally Jacksonville. So 4 additions there, Bryson. Do these guys fill some key holes here that we were looking to see?
I think that Johnny Dawkins, first of all, has been we talk about how good Sydney Ball Malone is in the transfer portal, but I think on the men's sports side, Johnny Dawkins is kind of like her counterpart to that, who is a very great evaluator of talent. I mean, he's not going to be in the Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame for no reason, after all. So as of right now, I think the 3 guards that he's bringing in are very solid. Shamari Allen, I can see him as sort of a Jalen Young-esque kind of player. He's kind of going to be, because since Jalen Young entered the transfer portal, I think Allen coming in from UMKC can very much fit into that kind of role, where he'll be kind of the maybe sixth man kind of backup guard to either the point or the shooting guard. And if there's an injury, then he'll be the one to step in. I think Jaquan Walton is going to be very interesting to see how he pairs up with Darius Johnson, because Walton was the starter at Wichita State last year. He went 136, 254 in field goals, 42 and 105 from 3, and 75, 96 free throws. And he rebounds the ball pretty well too. So I think we could honestly see Walton take up that second guard spot next to Darius Johnson. It also, of course, fills the role because Dawkins lost 3 pure guards along with Brandon Suggs in the transfer portal. So he's already working on filling that out, and getting Sellers and Walton most recently is a very good step to replenishing those guards. As for the forwards, Omar Payne coming. He only started 9 games last year for Jacksonville. Now he was with Florida before, and we've seen Dawkins take in players that as a third school destination, and them getting bounce back years. See Michael Durr. So I think that and they still have CJ Walker. I think Tayano Sila looked interesting in his limited performances last year. So I think I still want to see a little more from the forwards, whatever other additions he can get. But I think Omar will certainly have some good depth, because I think that with the injury to Michael Durr last year, it really shown how kind of vulnerable as far as forward depth this team can be sometimes. So from where they're standing right now, very solid transfer portal additions, but I'm interested to see what else they can do before the season starts.
Elo, how you feeling about these?
I feel like I need a program. Can we sell programs at the arena so I know who the heck is who? Because that's college
You got a
basketball.
phone. You can look this up on your phone.
I mean, it's insane, man. College basketball is just out of control. It's just I can't recognize any rosters and hoops. But look, will these pieces fit, right? We don't know. Last year, the pieces fit. 2 years ago, Drew, remember you and I talked a lot. The pieces didn't fit. So it's got to fit. I love Walton of Wichita. I've seen him play. This kid's legit. I think he could be a big playmaker for them. But again, how do these pieces fit? We won't know that until we see him on the court. John Rothstein's reporting that we'll see him on the court opening the season at home against FIU. So there you go. In-state matchup. Then they go to Miami after that, according to John Rothstein. So we'll see. We'll see if these pieces fit with the returners and the newbies. That's the nature in college basketball nowadays is will these pieces fit and how long does it take them to get that chemistry?
The one we also don't know for sure is, Ithiel Horton has, I think, a year remaining, but even though he's declared for the draft, obviously if he doesn't, he's going through the evaluation process. He could theoretically come back still.
I expect him to. That's a very common thing now. I mean,
we've seen other guys do that. We saw.
Yeah, I mean, Taco Fall did it when he was still an underclassman. You can test the waters. It gives you the opportunity to find out what these teams are looking for and what the scouts feel that you need to do to improve on your game. I would love the NFL to do something like this. I think it's a great idea where you can actually interact with teams and kind of figure things out. But that's neither here nor there. I just want to touch on it real quick. I agree with Eric about Walton coming in. I like this guy. He's a three-point shooter. He's an outside guy. He was third best in percentage in the American for 3 points shooting at Wichita State. The biggest question is who's your slasher going to be? Who's the guy who can create his own shot? No one's really jumping out as someone who can consistently be that guy. And I think that's what
we don't know that yet. We don't know that. Remember, CJ Kelly wasn't that type of player. He kind of developed that when he got here.
Well, that's the thing. As you said, we have to see how this team kind of gels. Someone's going to have to rise up. Now, CJ Kelly can do it, but he didn't do it consistently. And that's the thing. You're going to have a guy who can consistently be that guy if you want this team. Because remember, because right now they're a big man short. This is a small team. So you're going to have a lot of slashing. You're going to have to move the ball around. You're not going to be able to do an inside-out game. So you're going to have someone who can create their own shot.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have to see how he can kind of make it work.
So we'll be, again, I mean, we'll find out more, I think, in the next month, in addition to the fact that, NBA draft is on June 22nd. By the way, I checked my favorite site on NBA draft news is NBAdraft.net. They got Taylor Hendricks going 5 to the Detroit Pistons.
I don't know how he did at the combine. He wasn't one of the names thrown around as someone who really who pushed himself up or dropped down. He kind of just was, his name didn't really show up.
Yeah, there must be a reason for it. I mean,
you've seen he's got the size, he's got the strength, but he's a little raw. He's still young. Yeah. So I mean, it's a
great fit for the Magic. Another guy with long wingspan.
If according to this, if he gets to them.
Yeah, because
there's
a few trains of
11,
thought here.
So.
I think 5 may be a little bit of a stretch for him, but I think that's more of a gamble on potential. 6 would be a good spot.
Well, keep in mind the draft. It's a 2-3 player draft. The top 2-3 guys, everybody knows who they are. After that.
Yeah,
it's kind of it could go a lot of different directions. That's why you're going to see a lot of differences between. He could go as high as 5, could go in the teens because it's really a crapshoot.
We know who's going number 1. That's the thing.
I think he will not pass Orlando at 11. If he falls that, he will not pass Orlando at 11. I think that's
I've been hearing he won't pass Dallas at 10.
Well, Dallas makes a lot of sense.
I think Indiana will take him if they get a chance. I think they're at 10. They would love him.
Utah would be a good spot for him too.
Utah would be a fantastic spot for him.
Salt Lake, though, God.
It's a very young franchise. City. It's got so much draft assets at their disposal. I mean, that's a great situation to walk into. Is Utah? They're going to be a team to watch out for in the West in the coming years.
All right. Well,
Yeah, until all their players leave for real markets.
or get traded to the Cleveland.
Yeah.
When the Cleveland Cavaliers are poaching you, you know it's a rough situation.
Well,
But
I mean,
I don't
between
care
that
I don't care where Taylor ends up as long as he's happy and productive. That's all I care.
I mean, you just want him to have a good career.
Right.
Yeah.
Go
make your money, man.
Yeah.
12 a month before we find out.
Yeah. Keep cashing them checks. So, NBA draft is on the 22nd of June. So, all right. A quick transactional move to talk about, Elo. I wanted to get you in on this one as well. UCF Volleyball has a new head coach officially now. They have removed the acting tag from Jenny Maurer. She has been named officially the new head coach of UCF Volleyball. It is Jenny's ship to run. And obviously, congratulations. He's been a friend of the show and the website for a long time. This was the right move at the right time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week. We expected a move to happen with the timing, the calendar. There was a lot of, you got to move quick here. You got that European tour coming up here soon. So you go with somebody who knows the program, knows the school, knows the structure, has recruited the roster basically, has had coaching experience. So why not? I think you give her the opportunity. I think it's an easier adjustment period, transition. And, now you let her build her staff. She's already hired an assistant, which I know we'll get into. But I think, this seemed to be the heavy favorite once the job opened, like at this calendar year. There was not a lot of directions to go. I wasn't surprised, but I'm happy for her. I think she's earned this opportunity. I've said this very publicly. The success that we've seen from UCF Volleyball, this run, all started with her arrival. You look at UCF Volleyball before she arrived, after she arrived, two different programs. She recruited McKenna Belleville. She recruited Amber Olsen. She's brought a lot of
Aaron Olsen.
Correct. So to me, that's where this program took off, was with her addition to the staff. So we'll see what she does from a staff standpoint. Obviously, they're going to have a bit of a rebuild this year, although they got some nice young talent. But obviously, you're going to the Big 12, so that will be a transition there. But I think Jenny's excited. And I think she's got some energy, too. There's something to be said sometimes. You have a voice who's excited. It's got some new energy. I think she's fired up for this opportunity, and I think she's looking to prove people that she earned this job. And I expect some extra energy there. With you have that fresh voice for some of the players, even though it's the similar voice, but it's a different tone.
She's retaining Aaron Olsen as the director of operations.
That's great.
We did find out that Brian Doyen is not returning as the other associate head coach. So Jenny has a staff to fill out, at least 2 assistants plus a volunteer, at least as of right now. She's filled one of them. Jason Tanaka comes over to UCF. He's a 25-year college coaching vet. Has been in the Big 12, actually started out at Baylor way back in the day. Also coached at TCU when they were, prior to them joining the Big 12 and then afterwards. Was most recently coaching in high school. And by the way, he was at TCU. He was there for 13 years as associate head coach and recruiting coordinator. He's got a lot of connections in Texas. And this is one thing we were talking about before the show, Eric. Jenny's recruiting base was the upper Midwest, so Chicago, Minneapolis, those kinds of places. Tanaka opens up Texas. UCF has had some success in Texas before, but now you really got to be good at it, right?
Yeah, Big 12
heading into
county,
the Big 12. So
yep.
This guy knows his way around the Lone Star State and parts nearby, and I think this was he will definitely be an asset to UCF going forward. No.
Yes, and I think that's a smart move for Jenny to have somebody who has ties to that region, has ties to recruiting in that state. Because if UCF's going to be, if they're going to compete in the Big 12 in volleyball, they have to tap into that market. They have to tap into that Big 12 town, if you will, that region. And I think you have someone here that can do that for you. And I think for Jenny, she's going to take care of the Midwest. Now you've got somebody who takes care of that Big 12 area, that Southwest. Mm-hmm. That's where you're going to upgrade because you're going to need some size. You're going to need some more boost talent there to compete in the Big 12. So we'll see what the other assistant is. It's going to be interesting because does Jenny keep calling the plays offensively, or does she bring somebody in to do that? We don't know yet. Well, obviously she's got her staff. Obviously they're going to go to Europe. I think she has a pretty good idea what she wants to do from when I ran into her actually on volleyball at the baseball game Friday.
Yeah.
She was supposed to throw the first pitch. I don't know. Did she end up throwing the first pitch, Bryson? That was a weather delay. It didn't start till like 8:00 at night, so I didn't stick around.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Who knows?
She's
a former softball player. She could throw, but she told me she felt pretty confident about the staff she had. So we'll find out once that comes out.
Tanaka, by the way, previously was his most recent job was he was a high school coach in Southlake, Texas, just outside, in the Metroplex, DFW.
Yeah, took a year off from Division I after being at SMU on the staff there for a while. Yeah.
So knows his way around. So again, we'll monitor who the next assistant will be for UCF. All right, Bryson, let's get you in here because we got to talk about tennis, NCAA tennis. Taking place down in or taking place right now. The doubles tournament is underway, and Bogdan Pavel and Leighton Cronje advanced to the Sweet 16. And do they have a shot at a national title?
Well, it was a very back and forth match. I was there at the USTA National Campus. Unfortunately, I got there and I saw them win the first set after a tiebreaker 7-6. Unfortunately, a rain delay forced me and a UCF offensive lineman also was there as well. Forced us to vacate the collegiate center portion of the campus, and the matches got moved indoors. Unfortunately, media are not allowed in there because it's a limited capacity in the indoors. So yeah, I don't know. That's just how it is, and there's not enough room in there for
nonsense.
True. You noticed Bryson dropped in like, "Hey, I was hanging out with a UCF offensive lineman." I think he was trying to.
Yeah,
I think that was like a shade at you, Drew. I think that was a little.
Alex Ward watched tennis a lot this year.
When I was in middle school, I played football, I wrestled, and played tennis. It's okay. You could be a tennis fan.
So anyway, I followed the rest of the second set on Cracked Rackets, which is a YouTube channel that was streaming the rest of the match. It is a nice name, I'll admit that.
I watched it too.
I hope you don't have any viruses on your computer now visiting it.
Anyway, it was another back and forth set. Like these North Carolina pair that Pavel and Cronje faced against really didn't let them pull away at all. It came down to tiebreakers in both sets, and UCF ended up winning both of them. I was talking with them afterwards, and you can see the video from after that on the Black and Gold Banneret YouTube channel, where this was a really good doubles match that was played today in the round of 32. But they got the win despite the weather, which has been threatening at the USTA National Campus all week. It's been like this. This matchup was actually supposed to happen yesterday, and then it happened. And then finally they got it in today. But of course, weather interfered again. So we'll see how that goes. They're supposed to play both the round of 16 and the quarterfinals tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But this is the second time Bogdan Pavel has made it to the round of 16 in the NCAA men's doubles tournament in his career. So he could make it farther than he ever has in the tournament with a win in the future. And also he could help keep the UCF tennis going, because Marie Mattel on the women's side lost in the NCAA singles championship 6-4, 6-4 in the first round.
So here's the schedule for Cronje and Pavel. So they play Andrew Fenty and Gavin Young of Michigan in the next round. The winner of that match plays the winner of Andres Martin and Marcus McDaniel of Georgia Tech versus Ozan Barris and Max Sheldon of Michigan State. Barris and Sheldon actually knocked off the top seed, Toby Samuel and Connor Thompson of South Carolina. So the bracket kind of opened up a little bit for Leighton and Boggy. So again, like we said, we'll see. They may have two matches tomorrow, 2 p.m. and then 5. If they win that, they'll probably go at 5 p.m. The weather, like we said, has been biting the guys. I think Bryson, do you think that the weather with the rain kind of takes away a slight advantage for UCF because they like playing in the heat. And, a lot of these other teams, their tennis facilities are indoors. So when you go indoors, that kind of neutralizes some of that advantage. So that's kind of a bummer.
Well, even outdoors, it was still a very close match. Even outdoors, these are the top.
Yeah, these are the best teams in the country.
In the country. That's why, even if you play good doubles tennis, you can knock off that number 1 seed, which is what Barris and Sheldon were able to do. So it's a very wide open tournament. It was a very close match. I think anything is possible with this, but this is the one last ride for Pavel. This is the last time that he's going to be wearing a UCF a UCF uniform in competition. So I imagine that he wants to, keep winning and go as far as he can get with it.
All right. Last but not least, NCAA track and field prelims in Jacksonville. They start Thursday, the 25th. And there's plenty of black and gold that's going to be running around the situation in Jacksonville. 14 Knights are heading up there. The national championships, of course, will be in Austin June 7th through 10th. But we're going to see how UCF fares first in these prelims. And we got plenty of athletes to talk about in prime time on the first night, Thursday. Shara Collins, Jasmine Scott-Kilgo in the long jump. 3 Knights in the 100-meter hurdles, including Renaya Jones. 6 Knights in the 100-meter dash, which includes Renaya, as well as Aisha Wilson. Kayla Harris is in there. Latasha Smith competes in the 400 meters at 7 o'clock. And then Latasha also, again, in the 200 meters right after that, along with Beyonce DeFreitas. Kia Williams is out there. Johnny Jasper's out there. Ani Wells is out there. And we also have Adrienne Adams in the discus. More triple jump with Natalia Madison, Shara Collins, and Jasmine Scott-Kilgo. It's going to be, and that's going to be on Saturday. It's going to be a busy weekend for UCF track. What are who do you think are going to be the favorites out of this, Bryson? Obviously, Renaya Jones in the 100 dash and the 100 hurdles, and Jasmine Scott-Kilgo, I'm guessing, in the long jump should be the main competitors for a spot in Austin. No,
I would agree with that. Don't forget Shara Collins. She's been in the championship.
And Shara, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, don't go sleeping on her now. But the other factor in all this is going to be Latasha Smith. This woman should have had her breakout year last year, but she was not able to compete in the postseason for other reasons. Now she's going in to this championship, the 11th fastest 400-meter dash in the country and the second fastest 200 meters in the country. Renaya Jones, for good reason, is the star of this team, but Latasha Smith, I think just as good as her, but she just hasn't been able to really soak up the spotlight as much as Renaya has. So I would definitely keep an eye on Latasha during this one, because I think that if there's any new Knight that is going to make the champion, because Renaya and Ashera have been there before. So if there are any new Knights that I would really keep an eye on that could make it to Austin, to that championship, then Latasha Smith is my number 1, and then Jasmine Scott-Kilgo would then be my number 2 because of the breakout that she's experienced. And let's not forget Adrienne Adams either. Adrienne Adams has really come into her own in the discus throw this year. So I think that she will also be one to threaten to make it to the championship game. But I think the big name of the game is you really want to get as many athletes to Austin as possible, because we never really talked about this with track and field before, because you need a lot of athletes in the championship to get the team title. And so the more athletes you can get, the better chances you have at that. We haven't really done it with this track and field team before. So the more athletes you can get to Austin, the better. And I think we'll be very interested to see who will make it there this weekend.
All right. So we'll have updates on them this weekend, updates on baseball, of course. We got stuff up there right now. Nick Porcelli, who is out in Tampa covering baseball for us.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow as far as the
Get
weather?
some good weather, Nick. Bring some good weather.
I mean,
will
Nick
ya?
Nick has been patiently waiting, but we talked baseball a little bit earlier, but he's out there in Clearwater covering things for us right now. So who knows what the schedule is going to look like tomorrow? Who knows even if we'll have electricity right now, at least as we speak.
Pirates have taken the lead. They have taken
8-6 ECU over Cincinnati, bottom 7, but don't sleep on the Cats. ECU's left 8 on base in this game, but
not a good tournament for them.
Yeah, I know it's been rough, but make sure you follow Nick Porcelli 2 on Twitter.
Nick, you've enjoyed the Florida Panthers series there with the Hurricanes. They're up 3-0, about to win the Eastern Final there.
Good for you.
You didn't like
not to
my
mention
little jab at the Magic, or
not to mention our Miami Heat, Eric Lopez.
Yeah, I'm not as comfortable about that one. That one I'm not as good. That's a law.
You think they're going to blow a 3-0 lead? Are you kidding me?
Have some faith, man.
That's a tricky series. I respect the Celtics. That's a talent. I mean, I'm shocked they're even in this position. Panthers, on the other way, clearly tanked the regular season.
Remember, they
goalie, dude.
Best record last year. I mean, this was a good team.
That's what I'm saying. You don't want that the President's Trophy.
The Rats are back.
It's Bob.
The Rats are back, baby.
Officer Bobrovsky's carrying him right now.
I know.
Shades
of John Van Beesbrook.
I mean, it's
been a good year in South Florida. Yeah,
it's been a great year for South Florida. And listen. Hey, all right, and Elo, I'm telling you right now, if the Panthers and the Heat come out of this summer with titles, big time pressure on the Dolphins. Big time pressure on the Dolphins.
I don't think.
No, it's not big time pressure because remember, 2016, Cavaliers won the title. The Indians went to the World Series, and then the Browns tried to go winless.
Went kaput.
They're like, oh,
to be fair, it's the Browns.
Well, the joke
kind of par for the course.
Their area code is 216, so 216 and 2016. Well, the Browns got confused. Oh, we thought you meant 016. It's an 0 and 16.
You guys with your numerology.
I don't know. Is it really pressure on the Dolphins though? Like they're in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL with the Bills. Maybe the Jets can be something. Never count out Belichick. So
I think it's safe to count them out.
If the Panthers win a Stanley Cup, who've been in existence for a less period of time than it's been since the Dolphins won the Super Bowl, yes,
fair enough.
Yes. So all right, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks to all of you for listening here on the NightShift podcast. You can follow all of our written content at blackandgoldbanneret.com. You can follow us at UCF Banneret _SBN. Follow Drew at StatBoyDrew, Nick at Nick Porcelli 2, Eric at Eric Lopez Elo, Bryson at It's Bryson Turner, and yours truly at Jeff _Sharon. Don't forget.
We learned that Drew played tennis back in the day. I love it.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Serving volley player.
By the way, we are happy to see you back, Drew. You're a little under the weather. Had some. You were playing hurt there for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, am I 100% no? I found out I'm going to actually have to have surgery to get rid of the problem for good. But I'm here, and I'm.
You're at least you were upgraded to probable this weekend, so that we'll take that. We'll take our chances in that.
It's better than the alternative.
That's good enough for us to put you in the lineup.
But I may have to bust out one of my Florida Panthers jerseys. I have a few of them.
Well, which one? Who do you got?
Is it the old one? Because the old ones are way better than the current ones.
Oh yeah, they're all. The newest one was when they had that blue one that they almost rebranded to. And that was right. I have one of those.
I honestly dig the old logo where it's like the panther biting the stick. I
got those.
Yeah,
I've got one of the yellow jerseys that were made by Starter that were always popular.
I'll tell you one that I actually like the altered state of Florida flag.
Are you talking about the retro reverse?
Blue?
No. They actually have it on their regular uniforms on one of the sleeves. It's the state of Florida flag, but instead of the seal in the middle, they put the sun. They put a sun, and I like that. I feel like they should change the state should change the flag to that. That looks better than anything. It's better than what we currently have.
Okay.
I think we can agree that Taylor Hendricks is a better fit with the Florida Panthers than the Orlando Man. At least we can agree on that.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know, man. All right.
I didn't say I wanted them. I was
Ouch.
saying, like,
It's
I'm
harsh. Look,
How many more
we don't care.
wingspan guys
As
are
long
we
as-
getting, Nick?
As long as wherever Taylor goes, I hope he gets
I
plenty of
hope he
playing
does
time in
well,
his
and I hope my
academy.
Magic
And he
does
does
well. I just want to
So
see some wins.
I know that's
The
what Nick's-
Orlando Tragic.
Listen, I want to see. I got a good feeling about the
Better
Magic
than
come-
being the
come
Browns,
next year.
man.
Taylor or not. They got 2
No.
draft picks. Hey, you can deal the 2 draft picks.
Bring it,
Get
Andrew.
get
Bring it.
some help. So
You know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the most losing team in history.
Here we
even
go.
with-
Well,
There's
How's
no
your-
one's going to beat them in futility.
Yeah, that sucks. But let me ask you this: where's your Super Bowl ring?
Don't need Super Bowl rings when you got multiple
Wow.
championships. The NFL existed
Wow.
before 1966.
No one
son.
cares about those. Those don't mean nothing. They
NFL
don't mean nothing. No one cares.
They
This
sued the
NFL
where's
league.
Kyle with
and
it?
won.
This is
if you've listened this far, congratulations. You've
They
listened
seriously
long enough to see
Seriously,
the show
didn't
go
we try to sign
completely
off
off the rails.
5 minutes ago. Oh, God.
Completely off the rails. All right. A shout out to Kyle, the student of the game, the SOTG on Twitter, who couldn't join us tonight. Make sure you follow us on social media. Of course, I mentioned Twitter, but also Facebook, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel, Black and Gold Banner, where we have all the latest post game and reaction from every UCF sport that we can possibly get to. So for all of us here at Black and Gold Banner and the Night Shift podcast, I'm Jeff Sharon saying good night, go Knights, charge on.